Hello and welcome back to Stationeers. Today I'd like to make a quick guide video on chickens and eggs. I went through quite a bit of trouble just setting everything up and figuring out how everything works. And honestly, there isn't a lot of complete information out there, either in the game or on the internet. So I thought I'll make a quick video about everything I've learned, and hopefully others might find this helpful. So, if you want to raise chickens and get eggs in Stationeers, you will have to start with eggs. There are currently only two ways to get eggs in this game. Either with the starting eggs, which comes with the normal difficulty start, um, or from traders. There is in the Stationpedia, there it mentions the organics printer, but I believe that's from older versions and it's no longer available in the game, or at least in non-creative games. So with regard to the starting eggs, you will need to be quick. There is time pressure because the eggs will go off, even if you don't unpack them. And you will have to have a proper setup, including hatching the egg as well as the food production, which we'll go into in a bit, but it's quite uh, an investment in early game, so it will require you to like set everything up quickly. If you are like me and this is like the first game, you're just trying to slowly getting into the game and doing one thing at a time, very likely the starting eggs will be expired when you want to get to it. So the only way you can get chickens and eggs after that is through traders. So I won't go into the details about trading in this video, but in summary, you will need to find the 6x6 trader that sells seeds. So basically, this one it sells eggs here. There is another trader, not sure what the official name is, but I like to call it the grocery trader. Basically, it sells cooked food. It also sells eggs, but that eggs, or like it sells egg cartons, but those eggs are not viable. So even if you buy them, um, they won't hatch. And this fertilized egg from this trader is $250, or I don't know what that currency is, 250 per egg. So make sure you have some money from trading um, on hand to buy the eggs. Now, one quick way to tell if an egg is viable or not is by its color. If it's kind of brown, a little bit brown, then it is viable. The red one, sorry, the white ones, there are no red eggs. White ones are not viable. So either you buy from the grocery trader, or for some reason the egg is no longer viable, it will become white. So one thing, uh, one quick note on buying from the trader is if you have like a vending machine exposed to the vacuum, or it does, or it isn't in a properly like pressurized and temperature control room, you want to turn it off because I'll show right here. So if you buy an egg from this trader and it goes into the vending machine. Then the moment it gets spit out from the vending machine and exposed to vacuum, it will instantly become unviable. So see right there, it turned white. So and if I mouse over it, it will say unviable. So you want to turn this off and make sure that your you're you're getting the egg directly into your hand. So in this case, this is viable, and you can also put it in your inventory, and it will stay viable. Um, and also, you want to be careful with the egg when you're putting it on the ground. You want to make sure you use the by default it's T. So if you press T, you can like put an item directly where it is. If you drop the egg in some way or throw the egg, it will break, as I can show you here. Well, this one, I guess I didn't use quite enough force. But if you use enough force, it will actually break. So, um, like that. So just make sure you're not handling the egg too roughly. Um, and another thing is, as you can see here, the eggs are in the refrigerator. So the game says if it's exposed to temperatures, and that's a spelling error, temperatures below 10 degrees, it will no longer be viable. But actually, it is safe to be stored in the fridge. So if you want to keep the eggs longer, you can put them in the fridge. And the same well, not exactly the same, but the eggs are actually safe inside containers as well. So even if I drop this one on the floor in a vacuum, and it is still viable. So that is just something to note, and also because your starting eggs starts in one of those packages, so it wouldn't make sense if it would instantly go off in that container. Um, so here's other things about getting an egg. Let's go inside real quick. Um, And now, if we want to hatch an egg, essentially the requirement is also mentioned here. The temperature is between 35 and 45 degrees Celsius. And basically, you just want to put the egg down like that, and it will take like roughly 2 minutes or so before it hatches into. Actually, let me just put it down and maybe it will hatch while we talk. Um, so that is basically hatching. And once it hatches, it will start as a chick. And after a while, it will grow into adult chicken. So these two are adults. And once they are adults, they will start eating foods, and also they will be available to lay eggs. And all the eggs they lay will be fertilized eggs. So in older versions of this game, I believe it used to have like a percent chance of getting fertilized eggs, but the depth changes so that every egg laid now are fertilized. So now about maintenance of the chickens, there are basically two things. One is it needs to have a proper atmosphere. I believe it needs to have oxygen. But if you're already setting up an habitat for humans, this shouldn't be too hard. You just need to like you can just share the atmosphere essentially. If I take off my suit right now, this is very comfortable, 34 degrees. Um, and another thing to keep the chickens alive essentially is food. So uh, chickens, they only eat three kinds of foods according to the game. I haven't tried everything yet, but we can search for chicken. Um, chicken. It says soybean, corn, and wheat. So I tried soybean and wheat. They do eat these two kinds of foods, but I don't know like if there are new updated foods and the devs are adding more. There may be more in the future. So just make sure you refer to the game's Stationpedia. So but the way they behave when trying to eat is as we kind of saw just now, the chicken kind of put the head down and did a kind of a picking motion. So that's when they eat food. Um, and the foods is the behavior is basically once in a while the chicken will try to eat food around it. And if there is some food available around it, it will just go and eat it basically. Now, oh, I forgot actually, I don't have the hatching temperature, so this egg will not hatch. Yeah, I forgot about that. But we'll get into that a little bit. But in any case, where I was getting into was you want to have multiple stacks laying around the room on the floor. So here I kind of just dropped the paws from this, and the chickens will like walk around it and spread it out over time. So those are coming in from a stacker. Um, if you only have one giant pile of food, like you put all of these together and just have one single pile, sometimes the chickens may not actually properly find the food and they will starve. So you don't want that to happen if you want to keep the chickens alive. So make sure you have multiple stacks. I guess depending on how large the room is. And another thing is, I have read on the internet that chickens can eat from either the player inventory or storage. I haven't properly tested this, but in my game, I tried putting the food in the fridge and they weren't eating from the fridge. So just from what I tested, it only works when the food is on the floor, but uh, we will decay in like quite a long time. That one day is like one real life day, so 24 hours. So it won't go off in quite some time. And another thing I want to mention about food is it actually, because they only eat raw food, is actually quite inefficient and it requires quite a bit of food to support one chicken compared to, say, supporting one human player because the human player can eat like cooked food and those are usually much more efficient than eating raw food. So make sure you have enough food production to support how many chickens you want to support. And this also gets into the topic where I do recommend having some sort of population control because you don't want the chickens to just keep multiplying. And there will just be a drain on the food situation. So one simple way to keep the population in control is just, which is what I actually forgot about that egg, is just set the room temperature like outside of the hatching range. So again, the hatching is 35 to 45. And if you're playing human, you might just want to, like right here, I'm keeping the room at 34. So any new eggs will not hatch, and you can just come back once in a while and collect the eggs and put them in a fridge, for example. So that way there will be no new chickens until you uh, raise the temperature to let them hatch. And so that way you can control exactly how many chickens you want. And another thing I've discovered regarding population control, really just food consumption control or egg control, if you will, is that you can actually split the stacks into one. So the way it works is every time the chickens, when they try to eat food, they will only eat from a single stack. But if the stack has multiple food items in it, it might choose to eat multiple items from the single stack. And the chickens need to accumulate enough nutrition to lay eggs, and each time it lays an egg, it will cost some nutrition. So if every stack is a single food item, basically the chickens will never accumulate enough nutrition to lay eggs. And this actually means if you do it this way, they won't lay eggs, but it also reduces the food consumption. That is, if you don't want to just like starve the chickens and kill them. If you want to keep them alive but don't want more, like if you have a lot of eggs already and you want to just stop uh, new eggs from coming in and kind of just reduce the maintenance, then you can just split everything into one. So I have this like stacker here. If I want new eggs, I will raise this to something like 5 and just collect all of those and put it back again. If I don't want eggs, I'll just put it to 1. So that's something I discovered. I actually discovered because I didn't know that, and I split everything into one because I wanted to see how much food there is in the room, and the chickens just never laid any eggs. And after I tried combining the stacks, they started laying eggs. So that's just like a mechanism I discovered that could be useful for people playing this game. I definitely find it useful myself just to like have more control over what's going on with the chickens. So that is actually everything I want to cover about the things I discovered so far. And yeah, I hope this is helpful. And let me know in the comments if you have questions or if you want other topics like I didn't talk about trading, I didn't talk about growing food. So if you want any of those topics, I'll try to make one. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. As I push the chickens, I can, yeah, you can also just push the chickens around like this if you want. So yeah, thank you for watching.